everyone, and welcome to the Columbus Metropolitan Club. I'm Kelly Atkinson. I am a member of the CMC's Board of Trustees and also the Office Administrator at Barnes & Thornburg. It's great to see everyone today. Today, our forum, Netting the Women's Final Four, CBUS Cashes In on Amateur Sports, is sponsored by Porter Wright, Barbara K. Fergus, and American Electric Power. Each of our sponsors is represented here today by many guests and associates. Would you please help me thank them? All right. Now I will hand it over to Luke Fedlam, leader of the Sports Law Practice Group at Porter Wright, to introduce today's speakers.
Thanks, Angela. Thank you, Kelly. And Porter Wright is really proud to sponsor and support the Columbus Metropolitan Club in its mission to engage the community in conversation. So thank you for having us. And today, I'm here as a sports fan. All right, so I work in the sports profession, but I'm incredibly excited about all that the Women's Final Four means to the city of Columbus. Aren't you? All right. I mean, we're talking about sports here. We got to get a little excited about this. So amateur athletics, as we know, it's great for the city, it's great for the participants, it's great for the teams that participate, and really for Columbus, all that it means to our community, we couldn't be more excited. So we're going to let this conversation begin so we don't miss out on any bit of it. So first, on the far side of the panel, I'd like to introduce Rhonda Lundin Bennett, Senior Associate Athletics Director and Senior Women Administrator at the University of Nevada. She's also the chair of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship Sports Committee. Welcome, Rhonda. On the near side of the panel, we have Diana Sabo, right here. You'll see. Just wait. So Diana is the Senior Associate Athletics Director at The Ohio State University, and she's also on the Executive Committee of the Columbus Local Organizing Committee for the NCAA Women's Final Four. So welcome. Now, with this last panelist introduction, I have to take a little liberty. Excuse the pun. You like that? Saw what I did right there? And so, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a sports announcer in an arena, right? Just to hear the crowd and all that. So, I'm going to take a moment to relive my childhood in the introduction of our final panelists. So, ladies and gentlemen, she's a former guard at The Ohio State University, where she was Big Ten Player of the Year, a two-time WNBA champion, a WNBA Finals MVP, seven-time WNBA All-Star, and three-time Olympic gold medalist. She's the new head coach of the New York Liberty, number 30 on your playbooks and number 1 in your hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Smith.
Nice job.
So I have to say, Dom, I'm sorry about that. But ladies and gentlemen, you all love him. Dom Tiberi from WBNS 10 TV will be our host. Dom, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was great.
Wow. You know, I feel old up here, Katie. I remember when you first...
We go way back.
In the 90s, 1992, I remember you were this little kid that came to Ohio State. But it's great to be here. And wow, the Final Four is coming to Columbus, Ohio. Isn't that neat? And you know, it just doesn't happen. You know, when you think about it, I mean, there's so much work and so much behind the scenes that went into bringing the Final Four here. And you know, Rhonda, I know you were intimately involved with it, and Diana, the university is going to get to host this, and Katie, it's coming to your city and everything. I mean, how did this come about, guys?
You want to start with that? Yeah,
Yeah, you just, yeah. How did it come about?
So just between friends here, candidly, this opportunity for us was a loss at first. When we first looked at and offered our bid to host the Final Four in 2008, so this has been a 10-year journey, we didn't win. They didn't select Columbus. And you know when you're really good and you think, we've done this, the city can do this, the university can get behind this, we got this. We had to stop and pause. And it gave us a big opportunity as a city, as a university, as a sports town to come together and say, how can we go from good to great? Because good wasn't good enough for the NCAA, and we want them here. We wanted the Women's Final Four at the highest stage of competition in Columbus, Ohio. Why not Columbus, Ohio? Why not us, right? So we had to take a step back, which caused a great bit of growth and enthusiasm, collaborative inclusion and diversity within our city. We were told we didn't have enough full-service hotels. Bam, we've got that now. We were told that our convention center needed a bit of a facelift. Bam, we've got that now. So the opportunity to pause and really come together as a collaborative city, university, and the enterprise of Columbus and all these women to say, we want this. We took time to regroup. We got it together. We presented our bid. And in December of 2014, we were awarded the host city of 2018. And we could not have been more proud for our city, the corporate sponsors, the civic leaders, the investments of, we need some of that mogul money behind the city to make this kind of thing happen. And everyone came together, and we couldn't have been happier.
Well, I joined the committee in 2014 and was fortunate enough, one of my very first committee meetings was the opportunity to see the presentations from the bid cities who were the finalists for the Women's Final Four. And you could just tell the enthusiasm from the city of Columbus, the Ohio State University, the local organizing committee. You could just tell that they were ready. And as a committee, we couldn't be more excited to be here. I know we came in the summer and had a fantastic time doing our meetings here in the summer, and then just this weekend to see the games in the arena, to tour the arena, to have a chance to meet with LOC and just meet people in this community. We just couldn't be more excited to be here, and are just tremendously happy that we had an opportunity to come to Columbus.
Yeah, no kidding. Clap for that. You know, I bring a little bit of a different perspective. These guys are the ones doing the heavy lifting. I've been lucky enough to kind of tag along and just support the game that I love, and obviously the city that I love. I've been a player in a Final Four. I have attended Final Fours as an alum of women's basketball, of just supporting the game and seeing my friends, and then I've also now scouting and going and having meetings and being a coach. So, I mean, it's been a huge part of my life for all these years. And for me, it's been 25 years since Ohio State, the 93 team, made it to the Final Four. The only team in Ohio State that's made it to the Final Four. So this is a special opportunity also for a talented group of ladies at Ohio State to make their dreams come true. We have one of the top 10 fan bases for women's basketball in the country right here in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio State. And we also have excellent D2 and D3 programs, but also just in general, we support girls and women's athletics. We have great women leaders, we're very strong in our community, and we're supportive. And that's why the second bid has made it, and that's why we're going to be hosting it here, and all my friends need to come to Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. So I'm very much excited, and I also know that Columbus, when they do host something, we make people feel good. Like, we make them know, like, everybody's going to see somebody on the street that the fans say, hey, good luck, when do you guys play? Like, they're going to know what's happening, so that feeling is something they'll take forever.
Dom, what's really interesting? I think that you realize what Columbus brings to you and your families and your communities, but the nation doesn't. It's such a best-kept secret in the Midwest. So not only do we get to highlight and showcase our city on the highest stage, but it will bring in over $25 million of an economic impact to our city. The Women's Final Four over this long weekend, more than just 3 games, will make 14,000 rooms available to its guests and visitors. That's tremendous. We've taken baby steps to get there. We've hosted the men's NCAA volleyball championship. Last December, we got to host the women's volleyball championship, bring their Final Four for women to Columbus, Ohio. And if you didn't have a chance to get to see those games, also at Nationwide, maybe you saw it on TV, and you got to see the B-roll that ESPN runs that highlights our city. And it's not just downtown. They're going out to the zoo. They're going on the university campus. They're going to the Short North. They're going to German Village. So they're taking everything that makes us, Columbus, and showing it across the nation, and maybe even internationally if you're watching it on a to-go platform or watching it from your phone. And so these are all benefits that are part of us hosting it that really will grow Columbus and show what we already know to everybody else.
And the cool thing is, when you think about it, none of this would be possible if there wasn't a great partnership. I mean, the university can say, man, we want to have the Final Four here, but you got to have the business community and the sports commission and everybody made this possible, right? I mean, it was the whole group coming together.
Well, we heard the importance of sponsorships earlier today, and thank you to anyone who is in the room who was part of making this possible from a philanthropic and a sponsorship level, because without that, we wouldn't be a contender, and we would not be here. You're absolutely right. And Columbus has this collaborative genius. I don't really know another city, I'm a transplant as well, but when you come here, the mayor, the chief of police, the civic leaders, the economical impact of our corporate industries, they all come together, and when they want to get it done, we get it done. And as part of Columbus, we're tremendously fortunate for that. We, as part of the local organizing committee, one of our tasks was for the last 4 years, we had to go and visit every Final Four site and be a part of their business meetings and be a part of their fundraising efforts. And sometimes we're sitting at sites hosting the Final Four, and they're not to that financial goal that they have to be at. And they have to hurry up and get there. We're fortunate enough to say we're at that financial goal, and we only have 2,500 tickets left to sell for this event. So thank you, Columbus, and thank you for you in this room, because you're getting it done.
And Rhonda, it sounds like you guys were impressed.
We were very impressed. One of the things that we talk about, obviously you need to have an arena that can host the Final Four. There's a lot of things that they need from a TV perspective and locker rooms and all those things. But one of the things that we really talk about is the opportunity to leave a legacy on the city that we're in. And we asked the local organizing committee and the host institution to come up with programming that really will leave that legacy on the community. And you look for communities that are already very supportive, that are looking to make an impact on the girls and women in their communities. And I think that's one thing that, I wasn't there in 2008 during the first bid process, but in the second one, you could tell that Columbus was really eager and willing to host this and very excited about the opportunity to continue to grow many of the great things that you're already doing and connect those with the Women's Final Four.
Yeah, because, the Final Four is obviously basketball games, right? TV, ESPN is going to cover it. You're on a national stage. But for an athlete, former player, fan of women's basketball, you come and there's the Tourney Town, which they've done, where interactive setting where kids, parents, adults that want to be kids, again, go and play basketball. You meet some of these ladies. You'll meet WNBA players. You'll meet, Olympians. Like, you'll meet them face to face. And for me, I know why I love women's athletics in general and sports is that we're so approachable. You're probably going to bump into somebody on the street that you're like, what? Maya Moore is walking down the street? And you're going to be able to take a picture, and they're going to have a conversation with you. And to have those role models or have that spark for somebody, maybe they want to be a player, maybe they want to be an announcer, maybe they want to be whatever. Like Luke, he's got a job. He's definitely got another job. Hey, kudos to the announcer back in the day. Molly Haynes is our announcer for the Women's Final Four. She has been multiple times, and she's right here in Ohio State. So we got people all over. But I just think the stuff that surrounds beyond the baseline, there's a couple programs that they're putting together, Sports Commission, to empower girls, women, and really involve the community. We've had our first event. There'll be multiple leading up to this. So it's just really, really cool, all the things that surround it so that people have a good time. And then when we sell out that place and the energy, those players will forever remember that. We lost in the Final Four. It's still one of my most favorite times. Because the fans, we had a pep rally going to the game. Ohio State was nuts. But we still lost, but just that energy and just feeling special and getting something at the hotel, that's what makes it, and they'll remember it forever because that's their ultimate dream, is to win that championship. But to have the fans there, not only their personal fans, but have women's basketball fans and people who support the community, we'll just top it off, and I think we'll send them out of here with memories forever.
Yeah. Just to build on what Katie said a little bit, it's more than just 3 games. So what we're bringing to our community will be hopefully remarkable for them. So there's what the NCAA has made prolifically fun is called the Bounce. And the Bounce is an opportunity to put a basketball in a youth's hands, anyone 18 or under. They sign up for free, they get a free t-shirt and an outdoor basketball. This is open to everybody in Columbus, even outside of Columbus. If you want to drive in for it, you get a free basketball and you will dribble with members of the community, maybe members of coaching staffs, maybe some teams, and you'll go from McPherson Park all the way down Nationwide, and you'll end up in the convention center. So we bring them right into the Fan Fest, another opportunity where they can get autographs, get interviews. We have some youth clinics that will also be offered during this time, during this long weekend, where it'll be NCAA college coaches, former student athletes, current student athletes, volunteering and working with the youth in our community who have signed up to be a part of these clinics. And I truly believe with the young daughter at home, if you don't see it, you can't be it. So if we can't provide and afford opportunities for our own community, what are we doing, right? So this is not only bringing people here who have never experienced Columbus, but it's really enriching and digging a little bit deeper for our own members, reaching farther than German Village, reaching farther than the Short North, and bringing in those youth who maybe have never had their own basketball. They get to keep that basketball for free and take it home. So we've created an experience, we've created a memory, and hopefully they can say, I want to come to games, I want to be the next fan base, I want to play women's basketball.
And you think about where sports figures in. Many of us in this room were parents or grandparents, and I know my son. This was the first summer I didn't have travel baseball. I was in denial. My son graduated, but amateur athletics is big. I mean, this is the epitome, and what it's going to bring to our city, just from, as you mentioned, the hotels and the dollars it will generate. But all in all, you look at what we've done in this city to embrace amateur athletics and to bring events, but it actually happens every day with our kids, with what we do, transport them to soccer fields or whatever. I mean,
I think as a state, and someone can correct me if I'm not 100% sharp on this, but as a state, we have the most basketball broadband opportunities at a collegiate level. So that includes Division I, Division II, and Division III men's and women's basketball. So that's tremendous when you can say you can affect that many young adults just providing that broadband opportunity. And that's just the state of Ohio, right? So we should be very proud of that. Everyone invests in youth sports, and I think that it provides an opportunity for them to become an individual, develop a bit of a personality. Maybe it's going to give someone leadership skills. Maybe they're going to get a little bit more competitive. Maybe they're going to feel comfortable in their own skin. I know that part of our legacy program for Columbus is working with girls and youth in sport and just providing that positive body image, because we don't want someone to be in 8th grade and to decide that they can't compete or they haven't been given the opportunity to be in a sporting environment. So then they become the opposite of that, and that affects their health and well-being as they grow in their life. So we want to provide that stage and provide that platform.
You look at what you were able to do with basketball, Katie, and obviously you're at the epitome now as a coach. But even if you didn't, what are the benefits of being on a team? What did you learn from just being an athlete, and how did it figure in your family? I know your brother's a coach too.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dad played football in college, always active. First, it's being running around, taking care of yourself, being active, understanding what it's like to stay healthy and keep your body moving. As a kid, you don't really understand how important that is as you get older, but it is. It's a huge part of your life is your health. So just even that of being comfortable, being strong, the confidence of being tall, being a little thicker than somebody else, right? And being able to walk in a room and be like, some people don't have that struggle, some people do. But it allows you to kind of, I'm gonna do it, let's do it, right? So it gives you that confidence to go somewhere, know that you're capable, but also how do you take losses and wins, right? I mean, yesterday, MSG just put up the New York Liberty for sale. So I just became the head coach, I don't know, 2 months ago, a month ago, right? So there's some unknowns, but it's like, hey, whatever. I mean, it's a little bit. But it's a little bit of the job
Well, you still have a job now.
As far as I know. But the thing is, you approach it in a way of like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing my job, and if it isn't meant to be there, then we'll jump on somewhere else, right? So it allows you to handle these things that are thrown your way, and it doesn't always work out for you. It's not always positive. You don't always win. So, and then on top of that, it's just a discipline. Like, it's not fun to be successful all the time, right? It's fun to be on the top. But how much fun was it to get from here to there? ooh, there's a lot of days where nobody knows what you're doing, your hours, you know what I mean, as an athlete. Like, those aren't fun, not fun at all. But that end prize, to be where you want to be, that's what's fun. So all those things, the teamwork, having an open mind, learning about people, embracing people for who they are, because you have a common goal, just broadens your world. And then all those attributes and those skills that you get from it. So, I mean, it's been huge in my life. It's not only been who I am, but then now it's been my livelihood. And I feel good, and I want to share that, and I want to make sure that others have those opportunities.
And I think, just to build on that, the confidence that girls and women get from participating in sports. I have a good friend who has a daughter who was really struggling in school, but she's a great soccer player. She's about 8, and we started bringing her to our soccer games and our basketball games. And she said to me a couple months ago that, well, when she goes to college and she plays soccer at University of Nevada, where we happen to be, and her mom almost started crying because she said she'd never even talked about college before. And now she's associated her sports with going to college. And if you see all the percentages of women who are in the C-suite, executives who had played either sports in high school or sports in college, there's just these intangible benefits that you have that I just don't know where else in the, in things that we do that you take away those benefits, the teamwork, the time management, the ability to overcome adversity. I just think sports is a really special thing. And you see that at the Final Four, too, because you see, moms and their daughters and high school teams and junior high teams and dads with their sons. And it's just a great melting pot and mix of all those people who see the benefit of college athletics.
It really is. And I mean, you think about the lessons you can learn in sports. And then you mentioned the Final Four. And just getting down to it, Diana and Rhonda, why do cities want this? And from your standpoint, I'm being interested to hear what you think too, Diana, on your end. Why do cities want this, and what do you tell them the benefits are, Rhonda?
I can start. Well, I think the benefits are just the opportunities to bring your community together. Many of the communities that bid on the Final Four are already places that have local universities or sports commissions that really recognize the benefits that bringing sporting events bring to their communities, and just want to build on this. And I mean, the Women's Final Four is the premier women's athletics event in college sports, and it brings all kinds of things in. It brings in sponsors, it brings in community events. I just think it does leave that lasting legacy on your community, and we're just always happy to see the cities that are able to get those bids and bring all of that energy and enthusiasm and passion to their city and to our event.
Sure. So for Columbus, because we are so proud of Columbus, we wanted this here. Because we have such a rich basketball tradition at The Ohio State, and with our Division I, II, and III programs, like all within a 10-minute drive of downtown Columbus, we wanted to bring this opportunity not only for student athletes to excel and be on that highest stage, but to have coaches teach and show the nation what they do at their schools and what they do with their programs to make them so successful. Because when you look at Dixie Jeffers at Capitol, she is tremendously successful. And you can't forget the volume of expertise and energy she's put into her sport at that level, and that helps grow the sport across the country for that divisional program. So we wanted to look at it that way, and we wanted to say, okay, we had to do our reps, like Katie talked about. We had to do our reps, and we had to have the grind. And now we've gotten really good at hosting other NCAA championships. And we want that to just keep growing. We want that to just keep being the highlight of the city. We already have a fantastic professional sports avenue through multiple teams. So what else could we do from the NCAA collegiate level to bring this ultimate experience that not only has college athletes excelling at the highest level, coaches collaborating to grow the game and grow their sport, and then bringing in that community element that we spoke about. We just felt that was really, really important, and we wanted to pay back to the community as well.
How about the economics, though? I mean, hotels.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What will this weekend generate? How many people will come to our city?
Right, so they're saying that we will have over 14,000 hotel rooms being circulated just over this long weekend, that the economic impact will reach well beyond 25 million. So when you look at that as a quick long tail for the city, it's tremendous. And it gives back that investment that civic and economic leaders have paid to help get this off the ground and help establish this. But then it really shows people, hey, you know what? I went for the women's Final Four. I want to come back and have a family vacation. Hey, I'm going to tell my neighbor that there's so much to do in Columbus. There's so much art. There's so much fashion. There's such a great, vibrant downtown scene that I'm going to come here when my corporation has another conference and it says Columbus, Ohio. I'm not going to go, I don't know Columbus. I know Columbus now, and I'm going to spread that. So not only will it open the door and the envelope for other competitive athletic events, but look at what it can do for corporate hospitality, corporate conferences, and just really taking what we know as Columbus and making us really on the front of everyone's mouth when they say it's a really great experience.
Yeah, you're supposed to have like over 40,000 people coming to Columbus during that time, and a lot of them aren't from Ohio, right? I mean, so you're going to have multiple people coming in and enjoying our city and hopefully spreading the word. And as Diana said, we'll say yes next time when they get invited.
Yeah, I have a really cool story. One of our administrative assistants at Ohio State, she's been with Ohio State for quite some time, and she's very passionate about athletics. She has gone to over 25 Final Fours, and she loves that experience of traveling to a different city all the time. And she said, you know what, I'm really excited that it's in Columbus. I live in Columbus, but I can't wait now to show my friends and show people that I've met through the years of traveling to women's Final Fours how awesome Columbus is. And you know I'm taking them to the zoo. We're finding time to go to the zoo. And so, here's someone who is coming right to her backyard, but yet she's going to be one of our biggest ambassadors, just making sure everyone says, Columbus is awesome. We want you here.
Yeah, one thing that people don't necessarily know, if you think it's 3 games, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association has their national convention here too. And one of the things that is super exciting for us is the number of millions of people that are within driving distance of Columbus. And so you'll have coaches, I mean, they have every kind of coach from high school, Division I, Division II, Division III, that are able to come and participate in their programming at their convention and see what a great town Columbus is and what great opportunities. I mean, I just can't wait for the coaches to be walking up and down outside the convention center and at their hotel and enjoying everything that Columbus has to offer. And you do have a great zoo. We had an opportunity to go there this summer, and I was blown away.
And there's so many great stories when you think about this tournament. I remember a few years ago when Miss Katie, the Buckeyes made it to the Final Four. Now, the fact that it's here in Columbus, and by the way, we have a pretty good basketball team at Ohio State.
Let's catch
it's all kind of karma's coming together, right, Katie? Will you handicap
I
it?
hope so. We're gonna put all the good vibes, spirit fingers. We're gonna whatever you need.
What do you think?
I mean, Ohio State does have a phenomenal team. They have one of the best players in the country. I mean, she's probably top 2, top 3 with Kelsey Mitchell. They also have a great supporting cast. I mean, Stephanie Mavunga and Asia Doss. A lot of seniors, very much upperclassmen. I'm just going to wait and see. It's a long season, but I will be cheering for them, be front and center, even if it's not them. I'll still be there. But I just think for me, being in the WNBA and playing in the WNBA, I just feel like the NCAA and the WNBA the NCAA is getting better. These players are talented, they're big, they're strong, they're skilled, and I think that's because they get to see what they could be and want those opportunities, right? But also the WNBA continues to grow and have magnificent games. Anybody watch the WNBA finals with Minnesota and LA? I mean, phenomenal basketball, like basketball. It's unreal, the crowds. So we also benefit because these players are good. So we really do push each other. And I'm pumped for it because I want our game to continue to be strong so that women and girls can have those opportunities, not only just through high school, but in college and then after, whether they want to coach or whatnot. So I'm pumped for a lot of reasons. The basketball and the city, and I'll be the biggest cheerleader for Columbus, so I'm excited.
That would be the perfect script, though, wouldn't it, if Ohio State got in, Diana?
Well, there's 117 days till the selections for the NCAA championship are announced. So I know other members of our committee, there are 10 of us on the committee, and we have a lot of games to watch between now and then, but like Katie said, where our women's game is at right now, I don't know if anyone watched the NCAA championship game last year, or the semifinal game when UConn lost. We couldn't be more excited about where our women's game is at right now. The parity, the excitement. UConn's win streak is at 1 now, which is very, exciting for us too. There's a lot of intrigue. There's new teams in the top 10. I just think where the women's game is right now is just so exciting, and we have our work cut out for us to find the right 64 teams to get into the NCAA championship, and then they have a lot of work to do once they play all those games and earn the opportunity to get to Columbus.
Hey, coming up here in about 5 minutes, now it's tradition at this luncheon that we allow you to ask questions. So if you have a question, you're going to get your opportunity real quick. Last thing, ladies, this whole process, and we talked a little bit about it, but the dribbling thing you're going to do with all the kids, there's much more than just the basketball that's going to be going on down there. Give us a highlight of some of the things that people will be seeing. And I'm sure all the restaurants and the places down in Arena District, they're going to be, putting their best foot forward to make everyone feel welcome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's, even you can have open practices. The teams have open practices throughout the tournament, the Final Four. So you'll be able to, go in and watch. Again, the Tourney Town will be just, as I said, an interactive event where you can go shoot hoops, win things, watch other people play, all the dribble skills challenge, all of that. And as I said, it does not discriminate on age. So if you want to throw it back, it's, obviously the men's games will be going on opposite nights, lots of places to watch games. And then again, just the amount of people, as I said, WNBA stars, Olympians that are just going to be walking the streets and just having a good time and enjoying the city. It's just going to be unreal. But there's just, hopefully people just come down and partake in whatever's around here to get involved in.
Yeah, it's, the greatest thing about the Women's Final Four is it's just days of events and things going on, and you go from one place to the next, and it's just a really fun event. And I know Diana talked about the bounce. If you haven't seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little kids bouncing basketballs towards you, it's definitely something to see. So I would recommend getting out there.
I think for us and for this group today, if you could be ambassadors and just make sure that this event doesn't come and go and your neighbor or your community member or your church friend says, oh, I never knew about it. That would be a tragedy to us. We have a website. I'm going to try to get it right. CWFF.com. Okay. ColumbusWFF.com. Thank you for my friends. Thanks, Jen. Because, of course, we want you to watch the games and, get tickets. But if you can just come to any of the ancillary activities, the bounce, the fan fest, sign your youth, your grandchild, your neighbor up for a youth clinic, it'll be remarkable. And they can then be stewards of the game, and they can grow women's basketball.
Now, are there tickets still available?
Tickets are still available, yes.
So you can get tickets online, and even if you don't go to the games, there's all kind of activities downtown.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you'll definitely want to come to the games, too.
Well, maybe
So we had 4 million people watching last year and sold-out crowds, so we expect the same in Columbus.
And the drama, you mentioned, and we just had, the 2 big games here over the weekend. It was pretty cool. UConn played Stanford, and of course, Ohio State played Louisville, and it was just kind of like, Diana, was kind of like a little treat of what we're going to see in March and the first couple days of April.
Yeah, there's more cake to eat, so trust me, it's going to be good.
Well, why don't we do some questions? And let me read this just so we're official. It is CMC's tradition to take audience questions. Please state your name, ask your question, and in consideration of everyone, please stick to a question rather than an editorial. You're up.
Well done, Dom. My name is Carol McGuire, and I'd like to thank all of you for being here today and for all of the hard work involved in getting this event to take place next year. It's a big deal. I'm among a few people in this room who are old enough to recall when I played basketball that I could only dribble 3 times and I had to stay half court. Of course, I'm quite thrilled to have seen all of the changes that have taken place over the years and the progress that's been made. But what I'd like to know from you is, looking forward another 5 or 10 years, What would you envision in terms of women's basketball, and if you want to be broader to women's sports in general, but what kinds of things do you foresee happening in the sport?
I'm going to let the expert work on that.
Yeah, lots of levels to this, I guess. For me, it would be, youth basketball, continuing to keep the numbers up, but not just youth, but then when they become teenagers, of continuing to and keep those numbers high as participation in sports, and not just basketball, I think just in anything. College basketball, it's just continue the parity, having more teams compete at a high level in the Division I ranks, just so you don't always see the same, names of universities. And on the professional ranks for us is maybe expand, find an area where we could add another team. There's a lot of talented players that do not get a chance to play in the WNBA because there's only 12 teams with 11 or 12 players. So, and you don't have any extra, you can't keep them along, let them practice and pay them, you just cut them and they go overseas. So I would love to see us be able to add another team, but also continue the coverage. Media-wise, been blessed with, Columbus, who does a nice job of covering what happens here locally. But for the WNBA, it's need more exposure, need more time. ESPN does a great job. They're our partner. But I think the exposure in mainstream media is still crucial to continue to grow the game.
Yeah, I think the parity, and just in the 20 years that I've been involved with women's basketball teams, you used to have 6 to 8 teams that you thought might get to the Final Four. There are many, many more teams right now that have the opportunity or have the chance to get to the Final Four this year. And I think in 5 to 10 years, I don't know how many teams that will be. I think that the game is just growing, and the women that play the game are getting better and better, and it's just a much more exciting product. And our women's basketball players are graduating at 92%, and I don't see that going anywhere but up. So I think we'll just continue to see the growth of the game and it being a great product for people to enjoy.
And lastly, I would just say, taking it a little bit more global, women would not have the opportunity to advance and have opportunities such as women's basketball or women's lacrosse without broad-based programming and without support. So we have to invest the resources. We have to make sure that civic leaders and communities and college presidents are saying yes to women's athletics and making sure that they have an equal playing field and that their numbers are represented and their resources are represented so that they can keep achieving. Because if we don't have that back in the communities, if we don't provide an avenue like a bounce for someone to get a basketball who's never had a basketball, to all of a sudden keep throwing it up against their garage or their neighbor's backyard, we're not going to be able to keep growing sports, and we need to make sure that we're not turning a blind eye to such opportunities.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Debbie Matthews. I'm a 32-year follower of the women's basketball team at Ohio State. I have more of a challenge than a question. I would like to ask everyone at this luncheon to go and attend a game of pure basketball without the show-off stuff that the women's team plays. So, and we have a fan club called the Rebounders Club. We give a lot of money every year to the women's program. So, thank you.
You don't like the show-off stuff, do you, Katie?
There's some folks, I'm not as flashy as some of these young ladies, but there's a little pizzazz to it. But thank you, Rebounders. You guys have always supported the women's game at Ohio State and given back. So you guys, as Diana was saying, the support, the financial, the buying tickets, it just is huge that people recognize the importance and then actually follow through with that. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and having worked at gone to a Big Ten school and then worked at another Big Ten school, I'll tell you, Ohio State is a special place, and I know that others around the country, we look at what you guys in your community have done, and we try to emulate that in ours, so kudos to you.
Now, if any of you other folks have a question, this is your opportunity. Just head over there. Some of you gentlemen, if you have anything to ask, go ahead, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Sorry, ma'am. I was looking at this guy.
Pam Conrad, loyal Buckeye. There are, I understand, opportunities for citizens in the area to volunteer to help the host committee with the hundreds of different hosting tasks. Can you tell us a little bit more information about how, if we're interested in helping with one of these many events, how we go about doing that?
You are so on point, because it takes a village, right? And we do, with all these opportunities, all these events happening simultaneously, we need the community. I do believe you get a free shirt, pullover kind of thing, so you get some swag with your volunteer hours. And they can do that by going to, help me with the website.
ColumbusWFF.com.
And it's right on your handout that was on your table today.
Yes. And there is a volunteer tab, and I think it's an email that you send, so, and then they would get back to you, so I've already looked. I'm kind of.
And don't tell anyone I told you this, but sometimes when you volunteer for some events, maybe you get to see some basketball or meet some players, or, so we need you. We need some volunteers, so thanks for that call out. Appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Barb Smoot, congratulations on a job well done. If anyone had ever had any doubt about the importance of women in economic development, I think this is a testament to what can happen when you have a group of talented, powerful women working together. My question is related to women-owned businesses. I'm sitting at a table with at least 3 women who own or started their own business. Can you please share some of the outstanding things that you have done in the way of outreach to include women and women-owned businesses in the marketing and execution of this event? Thank you.
Okay. So we have a program along with the NCAA called Beyond the Baseline, where we are reaching out to women and women businesses to pull them in to speak of their successes or how they have had an iconic moment that has maybe been a pivot in their corporation or their business that can lead to change in the community or show the community instances at a higher stage. So this past Sunday, we had former women's basketball players and coaches, Lauren Shank-Miller, who was a member of our women's basketball team and now is a doctor at Riverside. Katie Smith was also a member of that panel, and several others. And so that was the first, yes, Katie Motter, sorry, thank you. That was the first one of numerous opportunities where we're engaging local businesses and female leaders, because without our female representatives today here, but really broad-based in our community, Columbus would not be what it is, because we have a tremendous population of strong females, and strong females not just behind the table, but at the table, and strong females financially stepping up as well. So we have these opportunities through Beyond the Baseline. You can see that also is on your sheet and on the website, and I don't off the top of my head have the list of every month there is an opportunity, and then it will culminate at the Final Four with a larger event. But I encourage you to get involved. I encourage your corporation to get involved. I encourage you guys to have contests with volunteers and who can have the most volunteers, because it really will be remarkable, and I think that we can't get it done without you. You guys have anything?
That's great.
Okay.
Carol?
My name is Carol Looper, and I have a 15-year-old granddaughter who is a sophomore playing basketball at Bexley. And I'm wondering, talking about outreach, how are you going to reach the schools, the kids, the players? I want her to come home and say, Grandma, come with me, take me. We want to go to this Final Four event. We want to spend the weekend there, but she's got to know about it. How are you reaching out to the schools?
So you want to go first?
No.
So for us, it really started this past spring and summer, where we had a tremendous grassroots initiative that we were at community celebrations, community fairs, community events, our numerous pride events that happen downtown in Columbus, your tomato festival, your strawberry festival. We made sure that we had a women's Final Four presence there because, to your point, Carol, we want to make sure that people know about this. We are having, through Ohio State women's basketball, continued efforts to make sure that schools and communities know about this. We are working with the Ohio High School Athletic Association and with their coaches to make sure that all of our local and regional elementary schools are aware of this as well. You'll see as we start to edge and creep past December and the holiday season, you'll start to see more signage around town. You'll start to see a lot more visibility pick up. And we can assure you that the high schools, the elementary schools, the middle schools, our youth camps initiatives through Ohio State, we're reaching back out to those who have been a part of basketball locally. So that is really important to us. And, we're kind of giving like multiple water bottles to these coaches because we we want their high school teams and their elementary teams and, that youth Saturday basketball outward bound to be successful, but we're also saying, hey, and here's Final Four information, and here's volunteer information, and making sure. So hopefully it's getting out there, and hopefully it's getting down to, every little girl and her grandma with basketball.
And we have reached our last question.
Oh, great. So I am Celia Anderson. I have a 13-year-old daughter. And my question to you, as accomplished women clearly in sport, as you look back over your life, what would be your best advice to your 13-year-old self?
Well, I can start. I would say stay in sports. I think a lot of girls, when they get to that 12, 13 age, they start losing their confidence, and they, drop out of sports and they start doing other things. And I would tell myself, which I did, stay in sports. It creates a great group of friends. You don't have to be popular to play on the team. You don't have to be well-dressed or have great hair or great bangs. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Everyone, teams are definitely a melting pot, and I think that those are some of the great things, so stay in sports.
Mine would be somewhat similar, just in the confidence factor of trust your voice. Don't back down, from saying something, asking something, or butting your nose into a group. Even if it's all guys. I think we all most of us will probably work in worlds that are male-dominated, and you have to have the confidence to speak up and trust yourself. The other thing would be, it's somewhat of a quote. It was on a poster that I heard somebody else say. It was bloom where you're planted. So it's wherever you're at, even if it's not a great situation, is be the best you can be in that situation, because you're going to learn things you may want to do, may not want to do, but embrace it, because you don't know who is watching or what skills you're going to develop, because then you'll move on. And then again, do the best job you can, even if it's not a great situation, and then life will kind of find its way from there.
Thank you so much for your question, because 13 is critical, right? I would say to be bold, to be deliberate, and don't be sorry. Why are we sorry as women? If you turn the ball over, or you make a bad pass, or you're a little bit late for practice, why are you sorry? As long as you're polite and you have best intentions, I think there's just a little bit different psyche that goes on. So I want to encourage young women to be bold. Be polite, but be bold. And then I would just say, too, just to flip that just a little bit as parents, because we're all running a million directions, and we all want to have the best of everything, and we want to be that, 10th floor corner office and be a good parent. But encourage your children. It may mean running 10 extra errands, or not getting home until 9 o'clock at night, or, going from, I live in Pickerington, all the way up to Polaris, to an ice rink, to back to something, to, whatever that means, make that sacrifice, because in the end, you're helping develop and grow your child.
How important, though, is it, with that said, that parents and the child are on the same page, that the child maybe wants it as bad as mom and dad wants it for them?
Yeah. Well, that could be a whole nother luncheon, I'm quite sure, right? And I would just say, make sure that your child wants it as bad as you do, because they really need to be the driver. You need to be the physical driver. They need to be the achievement driver, right? Who am I? I don't know.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's forum. I know I did. I have 2 small girls in sports, so I appreciate this. Thank you. All right. We encourage you to continue the conversation in the back of the room with coffee and cookies. You can view and share today's forum and all of our forums on CTV Columbus Television, on WOSU and PBS affiliates statewide through the Ohio channel, and anytime on CMC's website via YouTube. Let's thank our sponsors, Porter Wright, Barbara K. Fergus, and American Electric Power, and our speakers, Diana Sabo, Katie Smith, Rhonda Lundin Bennett, and Dom Tiberi. And thank you very much to all of you for being here. Don't forget to register for Jingle Mingle before you go on your vacations or trips for the Thanksgiving break, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.